What's up, guys? It's Gartrell here again with No Lift Garage, back with video 2 of the channel, and that is 5 things I dislike and 5 things I love about my 2016 BMW M4. So let's get right into it. So first thing that I don't like about the car is in fact the traction on the car. Car comes with about 400 plus horsepower, but with the stock tires that it gets, it's really hard to keep it, in line, especially in the colder weather. And I feel as though for something that you're paying so much money for, you should have some kind of tire that is good in all season, kind of like Michelin Pilot Super Sport Cup 2s, things like that. And I feel as though that is definitely not acceptable. So that's number 1, and also kind of tied with that. Definitely don't like the fact that the car wasn't offered in all-wheel drive like some of its counterparts, like Mercedes, Audi. They come all-wheel drive as an option. And I feel as though with how far we've come with technology, BMW should have been able to do the same thing. Especially now that we have M5s that come 600 horsepower and all-wheel drive. So I feel like they could have implemented this sooner and definitely gone with an all-wheel drive option at least for the M series cars. Third thing that I would like to say that I dislike about this car is the lights. Now, the styling of the lights I feel is perfect. However, the car itself doesn't come full LED with the taillights and the headlights. You can see here the halogen bulb on the turn signal definitely is not appealing. I feel as though they could have gone full LED with that option. Secondly, in the rear, they have the halogen bulbs for the brake lights, when instead, and as well as the turn signal, that they could have done LED instead of going with the halogen option. That would have made the car look so much better in nighttime and day driving, and I feel as though it's nitpicky, but it's something I don't like about my personal car. For moving towards the body of the car again, we have the wide fender flares for the rear. Now, you might be saying, why would you dislike something that is wide body from the factory, and not wide body, but wider than most normal cars? I would say is because compared to the M3, which has a much more aggressive rear fender well, I think they could have done the same thing with the M4. And that's something that I feel really makes the car look a little bit less aggressive than it can be, because it has the potential to look like the M3 in the rear and look very aggressive, even though the car is still aggressive looking, as you can see. Moving towards the interior of the car now are 2 things with the electronics and the way the car acts as a system. The first thing I would like to say that I dislike is the fact that for the stick, because this is a 6 manual transmission M4, they don't have launch control. How do you not have launch control? And I know what you're thinking. You can launch that car, build the revs, drop the clutch, boom, you got launch control. Well, I don't think that's sufficient. With the amount of horsepower that this car has, I think launch control should have been implemented on both the manual transmission as well as the dual clutch transmission. That would just make getting off the line a lot easier, especially with a car that's prone to spin tires. And lastly, and I know it's nitpicky, but it's the fact that this car gets warning lights like no tomorrow. And when I say that, I mean I'll be driving and randomly I'll just get a random code for the chassis malfunctioning. I didn't know the chassis could malfunction, but apparently it can. So you get a light like that, and then it comes on for about 2 minutes and then goes off, and it makes me freak out because I think my car is about to explode or something like that. But obviously I'm exaggerating. It's just not, comforting to know that something like that could come on and go off. Should probably go to BMW to get it serviced, but that's what it is. Moving on, 5 things that I love about my BMW M4. And this is gonna be so much easier because there's so many things that I love, because why would I buy a car if I didn't love it? All right, so to start things off, the exterior. The color is absolutely amazing. And I can tell you that this picture that you're getting right now does it absolutely no justice, and the car is dirty and hasn't been detailed. When this car has been detailed and taken care of properly, it sparkles, and I mean sparkles all over. People stop and stare. It's great. I love it. I love the attention, little attention whore, just a little bit, but I absolutely love the color and the fact that it comes with a carbon fiber roof from the factory. It's beautiful, a great touch. BMW did a great job picking the colorways for the M series, and I love Yas Marina Blue. Next thing I would like to point out, again with the body, is the aggressiveness of this car. I mean, look at that front end. It screams aggression. From the grills to the way that the bumper is set up and detached from itself, and the amount of aero things that you can put onto the front to just make it look absolutely insane. I think that is one of the best things. And moving to the rear as well, I would say, has a very aggressive rear end. It's just wide, aggressive. I love aggressive cars. I love hood scoops. I love it all. So, number 3, comfort. Seats are very comfortable, very adjustable, and I think that it just makes driving a pleasure. The seats can either cup you or expand if you're a wider person, or if you're a slimmer person, it narrows. So it gets that real tight, snug feel while keeping the nice soft leather and not putting you in a sturdy, rigid bucket seat like a Bride or Brid, however you like to say it, or a Kirkby seat or something like that. 4th thing that I love about this car, and that is the power. Right out of the box, you get 400 plus horsepower. I mean, what more do you really need out of a stock car? And there's so much potential for, you know, how much more it can get. I've seen these cars get easily into 700-800 wheel horsepower, like figures, just from bolt-ons and proper tuning. So I think that that is a great start for BMW to have in this car, especially with it being an M4, 400 horsepower. It just seems right, you know? And 5th and last thing I love about my M4, again, moving to the body, and it's a very, very weird thing, but the mirrors. I mean, not on any car you find in production will you see such a cool looking mirror, and they're so distinct. Anywhere you see them, you're gonna know that that is an M car's mirrors, and I just love the way they just look at them for a second. Just look. That's amazing. And they're functional because they direct airflow properly to make it more aerodynamic, giving you more speed at the end of the day. So I think that BMW did a great job ever since they started releasing those mirrors on the E92, and it's a sell point actually. For me it was, but I love everything else about the car. Yeah, just great job BMW. Thank you.
What's going on, guys? Christian back over here. Very similar to Gartrell's video, what we're gonna do today is my 5 dislikes and 5 likes of my 2007 Nissan 350Z. So, starting off, one of the things that I really don't like about this particular model is the fact that it is non-LSD. On the base trim levels, you miss out on a couple of things on the interior, like, you know, power seats and things like that. But one of the main things is the fact that it does not have an LSD. And me and you both know, whenever you have a rear-wheel drive car, you want to do some skids, or you want to rip a fat burnout with your boys. You can't do that with this car because it'll just one tire fire all day. It's ridiculous. Another one of the things that I don't like, which actually is technically my fault, but the clutch. I upgraded it to an aftermarket clutch, and unfortunately it is extremely heavy, especially for NYC driving. You guys know, for those of you who do live in NYC, clutch in, clutch out all day, first, second, third gear, especially when you're in traffic. It's ridiculous, but you know, my left leg is brolic at least. Another one of the things that I do not like about this car, I guess we're at number 3, would be the fact that it does not have cruise control. Once again, with the base trim level, you do not get cruise control. For those of you who do know, and for those of you who don't, I moved up here from Tampa about a week ago, and I had to drive this car up here. Now, it does not have cruise control, so your boy had to, you know, flex his big toe one time.
Big toe.
So that this way you can make it all the way back. That's definitely something that I didn't realize that was important to me until I had to do something like that. The thing that I guess I can mention, which we're at number 4 now, is the fact that it chatters a lot, especially at low RPMs. You know, usually when you're either idling, it chatters. I have a mid-weight flywheel, so it's not light, but it's not the stock OEM weight. So that might be a part of it, but definitely something that I am not a huge fan of, especially when daily driving it. And finally, 5th and last thing that I do not like is the paint. It is extremely sensitive and thin and extremely prone to rock chips. The front is so susceptible to so much damage. Well, that's pretty much it as far as my dislikes. Now we're gonna get over to the likes. Now I wish I had more, but I only have 5, so I have to consolidate. One of the things that I love about this car is the fact that it is naturally aspirated and it screams all the way up to 7,000 RPM stock. You know, a huge thing with NA cars is that power builds progressively, so you're always in the torque curve. I love it. It's a V6. Most people refer to this car as the trumpet due to the sound from the exhaust, but if you get the right exhaust parts, it actually sounds really good. That's one of the things that I love, of course. High revving. I guess the next thing that I love about it is just the body lines of the car. If we take a look at the back, you guys can see the car just has good lines naturally. Now I know you see a lot of these guys doing Rocket Bunny kits and things like that, but naturally the way the car comes from Nissan, the only thing that I'd say it probably needs is some form of spoiler or rear deck lid, something along that line, just to break up the back, because it is a little round in the rear end, but you know, that's how we like it. Number 3 has to be the fact that this is a very versatile platform. You see a lot of these dudes coming out, making them into drift animals, doing full, you know, front arm kits and getting full crazy counter steer, lock, and all that good stuff. And then you also see people taking these to the track and making them into grip machines. You know, you kind of get the best of both worlds, and it's a simple switch of your alignment and, you know, your wheel and tire setup, and boom, you're good for the most part. That's another huge thing that really appealed to me. I wanted something that could be versatile. That is number trace. Okay, so number 4. This car, believe it or not, sounds amazing. Now I know I just mentioned something about the whole trumpet thing, but I love the way it sounds, especially as I mentioned earlier, when you get the proper exhaust setup on. It sounds great when you're next to a wall or you're in a tunnel, drop a gear, it sounds phenomenal. Believe it or not, I'm one of the few that actually like it. Another thing, and the 5th and final thing, for this specific year of Z, you actually get the HR motor, which, going back actually to my first point, revs out to 7 grand. Love it. They fixed the oil consumption issue for the most part. You get dual intakes, makes more power, weighs slightly less than a 370, and when you tune it on full bolt-ons, you can actually dust some 370s. But yeah, I definitely love that aspect. So those are some of the things that I like and dislike about my car. There's definitely plenty more things that I can mention about it, but we're gonna keep it simple for this one. And you already know who's here with your boy. It's Gartrell.
Got a lot more content coming, I'm telling you. Make sure you're here for it. We really hope that we can build an audience that really loves the things that we do, because we love what we do. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hit that notification bell.
Definitely.
You already know we're coming in hot. Everybody's asleep right now. I'm telling you, we have some stuff up our sleeve.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys. Have a great one.
We'll catch you on the next one.